Jojo is back. So as you know, Jojo Stone Ocean came out on December 1st. At the time of this recording, we currently only have 12 episodes, so there will be some light spoilers, and we will have timestamps for those who don't want to know about spoilers. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure always starts off with a new Jojo. Who could it be this time around? Is it a new Sigma male who is built to kick the shit out of anyone at the gym, even though he is almost always a high school student?
Jojo. Giorno.
No, actually, it is quite the opposite. This time around, the Jojo in this part is named Jolene Cujo. For those who have been watching Jojo for quite a while, Jolene has the same last name as Jotaro Kujo. So, are they related? And the answer is yes. Jolene is still built different, but she is of age.
Let's go!
So this next part will have some very light spoilers about the setting, but to be honest, they're not really spoilers, so take it as you will. This is considered spoilers, so you can skip to the next part. So it is established in episode 1, Jolene gets sent to a prison
Mario's gonna do something very illegal
on a 20-year sentence. I'm not going to explain it, but she does get sent to prison, and on her way to the prison, she meets Hermes Castillo, who's going to be an ally of Jolene later on. But after getting locked up, she gets a pendant from Jotaro, which has a picture of him and
Yo mama!
oh, and the piece of a stand arrow. And she unlocks her own stand. After she goes to prison, she notices immediately how things work, and she meets stand users along the way, as expected within the JoJo series.
If I start feeding birds these bran muffins every time I walk into the front of this building, then every time somebody walks to the front of this building with these bran muffins, or any kind of muffin, the birds will make a certain noise telling me the bran muffins are here. I don't have to go to the front. I don't have to have a doorbell or a camera. Literally, and I can train them to make that noise with anything I want. They'll do it with anything. Nature's sidekicks.
This time around, stands seem to be a lot more complicated than previous parts. Honestly, part 5 has some of the most interesting stand users. But part 6 has some really strange stand users. So we are going to abide by the golden JoJo rule. If the person looks weird or acts weird, they're probably a stand user. Let's be real, it's honestly kind of hilarious seeing people hide in plain sight. Yet they never get spotted by the main cast. You guys ever wonder that? Now that I think about it, every stand user has a weird outfit, hairstyle, or just generally a weird attitude. My thoughts on the new stand fights honestly are some of the most interesting abilities that are true to the JoJo series fights, and in weird ways. JoJo tends to be a battle of wits, and as expected raises a lot of tension and offers a lot of interesting outcomes due to this. Even though this could technically count as a battle manga, it has such a weird dynamic because most battle mangas tend to be two guys fighting, and slowly over time tend to review their superpowers or power-ups over time. But one thing that JoJo always does is that they raise tension by either A, not explaining the stand ability fully, or B, not showing who the stand user is, and this is part of the mystery that makes each JoJo fight worth watching. Honestly, this brings in the most interesting thing that I call a mindfuck, and I love it. Which is honestly great, because you're in for someone as smart, genius, and handsome as myself. I can never get a full grasp on how these battles will go. Let's be real, guys. JoJo is the only series that can make throwing the ball one of the most intense, high-stakes battles, while other mangas struggle to put stakes in a battle. This is not a jab directly towards anime or manga, because depending on the series they can add some high stakes, but they can't do it like JoJo, of course. A bizarre aspect of this is enough to entice people into watching the show, and for those who had to wait 2 parts in order to finally witness a stand battle, I would have to say, good for you, because you deserve it. No offense to Phantom Blood or Battle Tendencies, but they are not as interesting as the newer JoJo fights. But this is due to how old the actual series is. No hate to Mr. Araki, but the first 2 parts of the JoJo didn't really age well. Anyways, now into the major spoilers. You can skip to my final thoughts with the timestamp seen on screen. So now, the main conflict comes with Jolene's imprisonment. This is a major plot point due to the fact that Jolene is closely related to our homie Jotaro. And you guys might be wondering, what did Jolene do? And the answer is she was born to the JoJo bloodline. So she is in prison at Green Dolphin Street Prison because of a staged murder, which lands her in prison for 20 years. Jolene is innocent, but due to some manipulation from the main bad guy, Jolene gets locked up and Jotaro, of course, has to save her. What he tries to do is provide her with a stand, which was the pen in the beginning that had a stand arrow. Jotaro was smart enough to realize that the prison she was heading into was dangerous, so provided her with a stand. This isn't the typical prison where they house killers and really dangerous people. Well, I mean, technically, yes, they do, but this is a prison with stand users, obviously. So she was dead to begin with if she didn't have a stand. Yeah. Anyways, the main bad guy is a guy who has a stand called White Snake, which is a pretty dangerous stand. Okay, now for real, guys. After this part, this is actually main spoilers, so if you guys don't want to spoil yourself, this is your last chance to get to this timestamp before I announce the spoilers. Okay, so now that you have decided that you want to be spoiled, let's go. So the main bad guy of part 6 is a man by the name of Father Pushi. Who would have guessed having faith is a JoJo reference? Anyways, Father Pushi, as you might expect, is a religious figure to the prison, and he is a follower of Dio from part 3. Apparently, they had talked about a plan which is really clear as of now, but it is the plan to attain heaven, as Dio said. I would like to explain the plans as seen in the manga, but who reads manga? Well, honestly, I want to stick with what we see in the anime, so I'm not going through the Heaven's plan until we get a full explanation. One of the biggest issues that happened during part 3 was that Jotaro defeats Dio. Wait, was it Dio? I thought it was David Bowie. Anyways, you guys might be thinking, why didn't Dio send Pushi to fight the Stardust Crusaders? Well, from the looks of things, Dio was planning something from the beginning and didn't want Pushi to be involved. Or at least that's what I am assuming, since Dio entrusted Pushi with the Heaven's plan. After Jotaro defeats Dio, of course, Jotaro destroys his notes about this plan, so Pushi's trying to find a way around it with his stand. As expected for the final boss, Pushi has an overpowered stand called White Snake, which has the ability to remove or give people's memories and stands with his discs. My theory would be that Pushi is using Jotaro's memory to see Dio's plans that were destroyed by Jotaro. I assume that his plan is going well since he stole both Jotaro's memory disc and stand disc. End of story, right? But the main problem for Pushi is that Jolene is becoming a nuisance, not only because she has a stand, but she's actually really clever, just like her old man. She had deduced where to find the stand disc that belongs to Jotaro, and in the process, she had defeated numerous stand users trying to get it back. Jolene is by far an interesting JoJo and is very cunning and quick-witted. I feel like part 6 will be successful since the manga version of part 6 is really well liked. In my opinion, it is probably because people don't know how to fucking read, but that's just me. It looks confusing, but honestly it was well written. As for how the story will go, it seems to be going pretty well. Hopefully they are able to explain everything, since when I read it myself, I was pretty lost, so hopefully maybe it'll be better explained in the anime. Let me know what you think about this part, because honestly I'm rather excited that Jojo's back. Sadly there won't be any more Jojo Fridays like the good old days. But I'm glad that we have more Jojo content, because it has been too long since we had a recent Jojo content. The most recent content we've gotten so far from Jojo, besides the manga of course, was Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe, which you can find on Netflix and other streaming services. Even though it was really solid, I really loved Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe. It was even short, and I thought it should have been extended or gotten more episodes. I wanted more Jojo, and our prayers have finally been answered. So let's hope part 6 ends off with a good note, and that part 7 Steel Ball Run eventually gets animated soon. Let me know what you think about part 6 Jojo, and if you guys have any thoughts, leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Could be dangerous. Could be dangerous, dangerous. Could be.